Okay, so we are starting now in just a second, okay? Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. This is Manoj Onkar. We are in India and it's 7 minutes past 4. And welcome you all to this special session. We call it Reimagining Your Business. Okay, so if you can just, if you're able to hear me correct. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And it's really nice to hear or read all the introductions here. Thank you very much for doing that. Those of you not put your introduction, it would be great if you do that. Okay, you can put it in the chat. Uh, as I
Hello.
said, my name is Manoj Kumar. Yes,
Yeah.
Srinivas, welcome. Put your video on, please. Okay. And I have with me my colleagues SK Rao, Sai Krishna Rao. We call him SK. So SK, if you can wave your hand. And many of you know SK is a dear friend of ours here. And we have Vivek Chopra. Vivek, can you wave your hand? Okay, so Vivek is based in Delhi and SK is based in Bangalore. I am based in Mumbai and Ahmedabad. And yeah, we are part of a team called the Global Transformation Consultants. And we have our team based in India plus UK and also in Philippines and Thailand. So these are our major areas of operations. And we work in organizational development field. And one of our flagship work lately over the last 5 years is the work we do on organizational transformation using the Theory U principles. Theory U, as some of you might be aware, is created by, okay, how many of you already know Theory U? Raise your hand if you already know Theory U. Okay, one GPS. So Theory U is a, I would say, as the most powerful leadership and change management conversation recent now available in the world. Uh, Actually, over the last 2 3 decades, it got evolved, and it's created by uh, Otto Sharma. Dr. Otto Sharma is a professor with MIT, along with his senior colleagues Peter Senge. Peter Senge, as many of us know, is credited for systems thinking and also the learning organization, his book Fifth Discipline, and many other things. Okay, so we're going to go and apply some of those principles to the area of our business and reimagining our business. Okay, uh, and those of you who would like to kind of know more, Otto Sharma and Peter Senge and others, they have around 3 4 books on this topic. The first book which came out was called Presence. I'll just put my slide up for you, for those of you who'd like to have a more deeper learning at any time in the future, right? And so the first book was Presence, then came Theory U, then came the Leadership from the Emerging Future, and the latest book is called The Essentials of Theory U. Okay. Um, as my screen gets up, you can see that, but we'll continue in the meanwhile. So as we are all dealing with COVID, one of the things that we also want to know that there have been challenges in businesses even before COVID, right? So it's not that the COVID is the only challenge. That all of us have their own set of challenges. Okay. Okay. Can you guys see me? All of a sudden, sorry. Okay, sorry. There was some challenge on my network, it looks, and I couldn't see all of you for a minute. Okay, my apologies. You'll have to give me 1 second. Okay. So everybody can see the slide. Can you guys see the slide?
Yes.
SK? Okay, good. Perfect. So I'm taking you to the slide with these 4 books. Okay. So these are the books for those of you who would like to read any of them in the future. And if somebody wants to know which is the smallest book to read and the easiest one to read, I would say the last one, that is the Essentials of Theory. This is the most compact version of the work so far. Okay. Now let's go into the conversation. And what I would like you to do is to share with us, maybe in the chat, maybe you can unmute and speak. What are the challenges you and your businesses are facing right now? What kind of challenges are you facing right now? You can write it in the chat, or if you want to unmute and speak, you can do that. Yes, and
Yeah. The
yeah,
challenges I am facing in my business is actually the cash flows, receivables.
right. And you are in construction business, right?
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
and why? Okay. And is it connected with the current situation, or is it like been there as a
Yeah,
challenge in your business before also?
no, it is with the pandemic because the government spending on the infrastructure has completely, gone down because they are diverting the money for, health and, health sector. So all the infrastructure
Right.
projects are very, very slow. Funding is not there. So we
Hmm.
are again depending upon the progress of the work. So if the progress doesn't happen, we don't get our fees. So
Right.
it's purely with pandemic.
Okay. Got that. Great. And then the next question I'm going to ask you is, how are you dealing with it? That's
Well, we did kind of restructuring. We had laid off few employees, and then we took salary cuts, and cutting all the expenditures is all one aspect we did. And second is
right.
we are doing more marketing and see if we can get more works and start everybody working extra hours
Right.
and start delivering.
Okay. Got that. Great. Thanks. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And Amar, your business is going up. Seems to be the best time for you. Okay. And how are you
Yeah,
dealing with? How
yeah.
are you dealing with that change?
Actually, if you ask me, the operations are almost back to normal. We still are going through some salary cut, which we're expecting it to be, reversed, let's say 3 months down the line.
Uh-huh.
With the China thing coming up, and then a lot of COVID-related requirements coming up for drones. So okay. So maybe I should introduce first, right? So we do drones. We do UAV, unmanned aerial vehicles, for Indian
Right.
defense and army and police forces, right? So
Hmm.
a lot of buying happening and a lot of interest from the market, which is happening. Yes, everything has a challenge. Yeah, so we are going to have challenge in terms of the cash flow, working capital, and things like that. But
Hmm.
those are the good challenges, good problems to have on the table.
Right. And how are you dealing with them?
No, we are working with the investors or banks to get some equities or debts in place, right? So yeah, we should be okay. We should be okay. I mean, yeah, that's a challenge. That's like a good problem to have.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Uh, Definitely. Great. Thanks for sharing, Amar. Let's hear from a couple of people. Yes, medical industry is growing for at least in some parts, right? Okay. Somebody else. What are the challenges you're facing, your business is facing, or what are the changes you're facing? GP, anything for you? Can't hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
moment is mainly like cash flow, a lot of things, and also improving technology and community building. Community building has been a challenge in this past 5 months, because a lot of connection are, for us, they're actually connected to how the development of the city. So that's why this is actually a lot of connection had been destroyed by not destroyed, but I would say we lose a lot of connection through these pandemics because of all the change.
Right.
So it's more about understanding how the others are living now.
Okay. And what is your business and how is that connected with community building?
So I'm building a social impact aggregator platform to connect social impact business with and social impact leaders with the community itself, and through mapping, and also through apps as well, and also like through tours as well. So in some ways, part of our business, the business we're partnering on the city, the physical one, were actually couldn't work at all. So because of the lockdown, and so these actually led to some disruptions as well, and some of them are actually closing as well. So because of their problem in cash flow.
Yes. And how are you dealing with it?
In some ways, we did like we readapt our business even more on online, of course. Okay. So one of the principal things is actually the social impact tours. Right. And we started to run like virtual tours as well. And just to give some opportunity to organization to meet even if they cannot meet at the moment. Right. And it's actually in some ways help a lot. And also like part of the one of the things of the startup sometimes is the cash flow, of course. Yes. And this is like a little bit more challenging because of course like a lot of grants and a lot of like fundings are now like focused on coronavirus solutions, and we are not completely aligned. So that's why that is another subject anyway.
Okay, got that. Good. Thanks, GP. Okay, so what we're doing, just for people who joined in late, we're asking people to share what are the challenges you and your business are facing right now. And those challenges may not be connected with COVID. So because challenges always exist in life. And it could be like some good challenges because of your growth, and some tough challenges because of degrowth, right? Or any other challenges that you see. So let's have a couple of more people share. Either you can unmute and speak up, or if you prefer to share on the chat, either way is fine. Okay, let's hear from some people.
Yeah, hi, this is Kit from Nash Industries, Bangalore. The present challenges we are facing is on the pricings. You know, okay. Businesses, okay, we are able to slowly catch up the business because Q2 is improving. We are expecting better improvement for the Q3 and Q4. But pricing is the big challenges. You know, all the overheads, everything is growing up. But parallelly, every customer year on year, price reductions are expected. And with this COVID situation, the customers are asking the big discounts also. So pricing is the big challenge for us. Yeah.
Right. I understand. Good. Thanks for sharing. And welcome Prerna and Manoranjita and everybody else. And I hope everybody has a paper, pen, or something to write, make notes with, right? So I would recommend that even if you don't share or not comfortable to share, it would be good if you capture, make a note on what are the challenges you and your business are facing right now, right?
Okay, I want to say something, Anup.
Yes, please. Yes, Anup.
So our challenge has been of a very different sort. It's about the emerging talent from industry emerging talent, particularly from the high-tech educational institutions. For many years, they've been choosing to go for computer sciences.
Right.
And therefore, there is this huge opportunity they're seeing in terms of artificial intelligence and digitalization, blah, blah, blah. Now that India has realized that we also need to take a relook at our brick and mortar economy, particularly manufacturing, trying to get the new talent wedded to the core engineering.
Right.
And then looking at what value they can add on top of that, to my mind, would be the biggest challenge.
Okay.
So the lure of financial services, banking services, data analytics in the entertainment industry, which are okay for their career goal, but for Atmanirbhar Bharat to be successful, we need to put the best talent where the national objective is.
Right.
So matching personal preference with national objective seems to me to be the biggest challenge.
Good. And Anup, you are in which industry?
I'm from the automation industry, and so currently involved with projects on Industry 4.0.
Okay, great.
Fourth revolution, mostly applied to manufacturing.
Okay, perfect, great. Thank you very much. So what we want to look at is, as a starting point in this conversation, is there are levels from where we can respond to change. I'm going to use the word change in a little broader term. It could be a change, it could be a challenge, it could be sometimes a disruption, whatever you say, right? So let's look at what are the 4 levels at which we can respond to change. And then we'll have a deeper conversation on that. Let me know when you can see the screen. Okay, are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So the first level of challenge, or the first level of responding to challenge, is, you can call it reacting. So the 4 levels, we call them reacting, redesigning, reframing, and presencing. Presencing, we also call it as regenerating. Okay, but let's look at the first one, and we'll go one by one in details, and we'll have an interaction, go deeper into it. So the first level is reacting. What is reacting? Reacting is like quick fix, knee-jerk reaction, as we sometimes call it, right? And let's see. Okay. So what the reaction level is, of course, going to manifest at the level of some action. Okay. And it could be like many companies are doing. It could be salary cuts. It could be reduction in manpower. It could be trying to go from offline to online in current scenario. But otherwise also it could be like, okay, competition comes in and then you make some sudden changes, right? It could be pricing. It could be something else, right? So how many of you see changes which are at the level of action, at the level of a quick fix, at the level of reaction? How many of you see changes that you are doing, or your business is doing, or you see people around you doing?
Should I speak?
Please, please. Yes.
Yeah. So see what is happening in context of COVID situations, right? So what is happening is we have around 6 months of learning, right? And I think every day we are learning something different, right?
Yes.
And so it's like we locked down the whole country at 500 cases, and then we open up the country at 1 million cases, right? So it's all learning. I will not say what is right, what is wrong. Let's not go into that. But we keep learning the things every day, and then we keep acting based on that learnings. What is COVID, what is not COVID. So I think the learning for all of us is we have to be flexible. We have to unlearn new things every day based on the new way of working, based on new context. It's like everything has to be flexibly looked at in the real context based on whatever we are learning every day.
Yes, I agree. But but see, when we look at responding to change, okay, we are saying that you could look at it from 4 levels or from 4 different dimensions, right? If you will. So the first level is, and it's not just the COVID, but it's even otherwise, it's where we respond at the level of a reaction, like a quick fix, right? And it shows up in the world of actions, right? It's not wrong. We're not saying it's wrong. It's just that to notice that at which level are we responding from is the awareness conversation here, right? So if you look at the one level that we could respond is we can respond from the reaction level. Okay. Yeah. So the next level that we could respond from is redesigning level, which is we would say a senior level. Again, these are difficult terms to use to call it something senior, but still, it's at a level of redesigning where you redesign your process, you redesign your structure, right? It's a policy level conversation, right? So you're saying, okay, not only we want to react, but let's do some deeper thinking. Let's maybe look at a broader trend, maybe go a little deeper in our analysis, and from then we say, okay, we are making some policy changes. That's another level to respond. Okay.
Right.
And mostly people are playing at these 2 levels. One is there are a lot of people reacting, and sometimes those reactions work, sometimes they backfire, sometimes they get them into a very deadly loop. So that's, but there is a world of reaction that happens. And then the second level is stepping back and looking at, okay, let me have a bigger perspective, let me do more analysis, and then from there, let's redesign, right? Redesign our processes, redesign our org structures, things like that. So let me stop here for a second and let's see. So let's have people respond on what you hear in these 2 conversations. Responding to change at a level of reaction and responding to change at the level of redesigning. Any comments, questions from anybody on that?
I think it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, pretty straight.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's like what I'm trying to also connect to is it's while COVID is one thing, but this is all happening as such otherwise also every day in our life, right? So, okay, sales are up, we react in a particular way. Sales are down, we react in a particular way. Competition comes, we react in a particular way. Some opportunity comes in, we react in a particular way. That is one level we can go. And the second level is go deeper and say, okay, let's do some thinking and let's look at, okay, what are the process level changes we need to make, policy level changes we need to make, and structural level changes we need to make. So some people will move people in the org charts, right? So the org charts will change, or like that, right? And we can each in your businesses, I would recommend that you make a note in your own paper or wherever you're making notes, and see what are the changes you see that are happening at a reaction level in your company. What are the changes that are happening at the level of structure or policies, like that, right? And we'll go deeper into the examples also as we go ahead. Now let's look further and The third level is deep, and this is what we call as reframing. Reframing is at the level of your beliefs, assumptions. See, we are doing business, we are doing the thing. There are always certain beliefs and certain assumptions on which the whole organization is working. Assumption about how the economy will go in a particular way, how demands of certain things will go in a particular way, or beliefs about certain trends, beliefs in terms of, again, how the interplay between various factors is going to be there, economy-wise, industry-wise. So here we are reframing our beliefs. We are reframing our values, right? Like many people, just on a very simple level, many people have all these values. Oh, we only prefer face-to-face interactions, right? And trainings should only happen face-to-face. Oh, all important decisions should only happen face-to-face. Board meeting should only happen in person, like that, right? And then that will reframe. In the same way, as disruption happens in many forms, we have to reframe our belief systems. We have to reframe our assumptions of the pillars on which our current working is happening, right?
Orga.
This is the third level, right? Reframing. So you want to look at where are you, where have you been doing reframing, or where have you been forced to do reframing, or where is the old assumption, old belief system being put at risk right now.
Forces of intention and creativity.
Yeah, so that's the world of reframing. And then we will look at the world, we call it presencing, we call it also regenerating, which is where you connect to your deeper sources of commitment and you connect to the sources of inspiration. So that's where the whole theory U principles are going to come in place. But before we go there, again, I'm going to pause. I'm going to go a little slow initially because I want to make sure we are in the conversation here, everybody. Because as we go into the world of presencing and regenerating, it's kind of, we want to make sure we take everybody along here, okay? So any questions, comments, what do you hear, or what doesn't make sense or makes sense, anything? Let's hear from some people. Anup, you want to say something?
Yeah, 1 second.
Sure.
You know, I can relate to the fourth level, and I personally am very passionate about using that approach. I've tried it in the context of the existing organization or set of organizations, but I find many of them are still rooted in the action part, and some of them are willing to look at new processes.
Yes.
But mostly the energy is focused on more action, new action, urgency, you know, like stuff.
Yeah.
So of late, I was actually, it was more of an internal struggle. And now what I realize is that let me be at the source of everything. A pretty scary thought, which is now good to confront and cross the line of fear. But now I'm getting more and more convinced that a new breed of organizational ethos can come in this, which is forget about, break everything down, think completely from scratch, a whiteboard, and just look for people who are passionate about the superordinate goal.
Right.
Which means they have a burning fire and just don't even look at their organizational title or designation, not even the company. Just check out what is their willingness to contribute and leave their I mean, they may carry on their identities, they may carry on their organization, but if there is even 5%, 10% of them surplus, create a new organization based on that energy. But I don't know whether it will be an organization or a movement or what. So,
I get you.
But yeah, I think if something fresh has to come out, it can't be wedded,
I think
pulled out from the past.
Anup, you're, I think, attending the right conversation today.
Hello?
This is going to be of use to you. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Vasudha here. I
Yes,
feel,
Vasudha.
it depends on the circumstances and situations where one tend to either react or redesign or reframe or, get into the deeper thinking and commitment.
Yes.
My relativity is normally based on the situation. I think COVID is something that where all four of the elements what you have mentioned has aroused, the thoughts in all of them. So we have reacted, we have redesigned, we have, I think, even got into deeper sense of thinking and looked at our commitment. So it's a lot to do with the circumstances and of course with the individuals as well.
Yes. I think it's the combination, because you also have to have that mindset, right? Otherwise, you will not go beyond the level of reaction and redesign, right? So yes, both sides are there. Great. Somebody else? Ankur, Kiran, Siddharth. Ankur, would you like to say something? You're on mute.
Sorry. No, at the moment, I don't think I have any thoughts to add. But yeah, I think COVID, like I think what she was just talking about, it has pushed us into a lot of, it's kind of put velocity to a lot of challenges that I think one comes across on a daily basis, and it kind of has all got, it's all been kind of brought into a forefront altogether. So yeah, one is trying to deal with it all together, and I think for us it's been fairly interesting because it's allowed us to look at it from a perspective of how do you kind of seamlessly take on all these challenges and try and find a way that is long term,
Right.
and not like you said, it's not in the first bucket. It's not only reactionary. It's actually, it's given us that window to also try and see how we can address it collectively as a long-term plan, and forced us to kind of look at it through all the windows that you're talking about. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And what is your business, Ankur? You're in which industry?
So we run an architectural and interior design practice.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah, we started as a very small studio, and as you would understand, one of the key challenges and we are primarily kind of, our business is driven, it's a very design focused kind of practice. So there's a lot of innovation that's at the helm of it in terms of our USP and what brings us work and what puts us successfully out there. So I think one of the key challenge for us has been scale and operating at a certain scale. And we've come a long way. We started as a 10-15 people studio. Today we are at about 60 people. And to sustain the same rigor and the same amount of velocity and agile kind of method of working, because the industry itself is very, very tricky in terms of timelines and quality that you want to deliver on. Yeah. So
yes, good. We have had a couple of people from like architects who've been participating with us. Where are you based?
They were sent by
we are
his
based out of
partner.
Delhi.
Manoj, they were sent by his partner only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I interpret from what Vivek is saying is that your partner has been participating with us.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, he
Suman.
sent me this invite. So, Suman,
okay.
okay. No, I heard from Ambrish, Vivek. So,
Yeah, I'm saying Suman and company came to participate. We're still
okay.
waiting for Ambrish and Ankur and team to come.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. I was thinking about the other team. Yeah. Okay, great. Welcome. Okay. So, see this, we are, all of us are going to play at multiple levels, but we want to really uh, go deep into what does it look like to operate from the highest level, as we said here, the presencing or the regenerating, right? And connecting to the highest sources of commitment and inspiration. And for a minute, if we reflect
Manoj,
on, yes, go ahead.
Is it always that you will straight away go to regenerating, or it is like you apply it selectively depending on the situation?
Yeah, sure. We will. Regenerating is not relevant for many of the challenges, right? You don't have to go to those levels. There are certain things that you will work at level 1 and just do a quick fix and that's it. And you don't need to do much, right? So definitely for all challenges or all changes, you don't need. But we're talking about at the level of business, when we want to uh, look at our organization and our business, we are saying that there will be times when it is a good idea to regenerate your whole business or reimagine your whole business. Okay. You're with me, Srinivas?
Yeah. But when do you, how do you identify that? Are we in what kind of a strategy, or say the level of changes that you mentioned? When do we start, or what kind of symptoms you should start seeing that okay, this doesn't work, and then we should start getting into redesigning or regenerating?
Like what is the indicator that will point us that we need to regenerate, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll kind of think over it for a couple of minutes, and sometime during this conversation, I'll get back to your question. Okay.
I have a question, Manoj. Is regeneration a matter of strategy, or it's much beyond? It becomes a way of a way of life.
Yeah, it's much deeper. And I'm going to go into that conversation only. And at one level, we are doing this conversation with all of you to share that possibility, right? So what do we mean by connecting to your deeper sources of commitment and inspiration? And when we say you, we don't mean you as individuals. Okay, of course, that is very important, but it's also you as the collective. And like, for example, Ankur just said that there's a world of difference. You didn't use the same words, but I'm interpreting it there. When you started with 10, 15 people, and now when you have 60 people, just to bring everybody along and to bring that change as a 60 people team is a very different game altogether, right? And then, of course, there are some organizations here who may be dealing with 6 people, some will dealing with 6,000 people, and so there is a world of collective, right, that we need to deal with. One big thing that we talk about in theory, and we keep addressing almost all the time, is there is a blind spot of leadership. There are many, but one of the blind spot of leadership that all of us have been spoon-fed all the time is we have been looking at leadership as an individual phenomenon. Mostly, if you look at, we talk about, oh, he's a leader. Oh, he has leadership qualities. Oh, she is extraordinary leader. It's always about individuals, right? Maybe even that needs to get questioned. And maybe leadership as a collective phenomena is a completely different world, which is going to be required for us as we go in the future. That's our interpretation of things, right? That we're going to need a shift from the focus on the individual leadership to the collective leadership. And each one of you, if you look at, I think that's where even Anup was pointing out, or at least that's what I heard in the unsaid, is that the organization, the collective of the organization needs to transform. Otherwise, we are going in a particular direction, right? So when we say connecting as an organization, as a business, connecting to your highest source of commitment and inspiration, as an organization, as a collective, where do you need to go? How do you do that? Or what is the highest source of inspiration and commitment for your organization? So if you could respond to whatever comes up for you to this question, what is your highest source of commitment and inspiration as an organization?
As a collective.
Somebody? And guys, it would be good if you keep your videos on and engage for some time, because otherwise it's difficult to interact, right? So what is your highest source of inspiration and connection? Ready? Ratnakarji?
Yeah. I don't know if I understood well. I mean, when we started this company, I started this company in 2007.
Yeah.
For me, I have to build this organization like one of the top players in the infrastructure, consultancy. And now, well, we did that last 13 years. We grew from 2 people to 300 people. But then, over the period of time, probably, I don't know, have I lost that, thought or objective? It looks like, business as usual. It's
Right.
just running around day-to-day activity, solving the problems that comes, on a day-to-day business.
Yes.
Then that aim or, the inspiration what I had.
Yes. That gets on the side, right?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much for sharing. We appreciate that. Thank you. Somebody else? What is the source of commitment and inspiration for you and your business? Kiran, Sunil, Kedar Swami, anybody? Siddharth, jump in.
I would say the highest source for our work or business is the potential beneficiary.
Right.
And it really goes from not really looking at which customer can give us how much money or where we can maximize our earning from. It's about doing those things which will permeate to the lowest person within the customer's organization as well. So that transformation spreads right to the bottom. Of course, we are privileged that we are currently structured as not-for-profit. So it's in our DNA not to think about profit as the prime motivator.
Right.
And I believe for all our current key persons, that is a source of highest energy and inspiration, collective source.
The beneficiary.
Potential beneficiary, yeah.
Potential beneficiary. And what is the potential beneficiary?
Potential beneficiary is the person, not.
No, in your case.
It's the person performing a role. So let's say we say that we should transform X organization, we say, let's look at how the person, the quality head, feels empowered. How does a human in a particular role in
So
the
you're referring to the people in those organizations.
yeah, we look at the living energy more than the
Okay. No, I was thinking of outside in terms of like after that work is done, like the impact on the society at large or the ultimate beneficiaries.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I get
yeah. I mean, through them only things will, through people things will
Okay.
transform. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I get that. Okay. Uh, one more person. What is the source of your commitment and inspiration as your organization, at the level of your organization? Or for you, if you're an entrepreneur in an enterprise, what's the source of commitment and inspiration?
Adding value to the clients, serving the client.
Okay. And Kiran, you are in which industry, Kiran?
Finance, mutual funds and insurance.
Okay. And your clients would be what? Investors?
Yes.
Okay.
People, clients are people with family.
Okay, good. Very good. Okay. So,
hello? Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
I can answer?
Yes, please.
Yeah, for me, I think in the current organization, the inspiration is that we have an opportunity to reach out to the needy, like take the medical devices which are of competitive nature in terms of technology, price, everything into every corner of the country and even abroad. So it's an organization now which is a growing organization where we are even shipping the devices outside the country. It's a US approved, FDA approved, CE approved. So it's a matter of pride where an Indian company is capable of delivering a high quality product.
Very good. Brilliant. And how big is your organization?
In terms of people, we are about 600 people in the country, 600 or close to 600.
Right.
Abroad, there are few people in Italy and some in US.
Okay, good. GP is from Italy. He's participating here. He's written his full name, but he's given us the permission to call him GP. Okay, so yeah, what you said is very valid. So what we wanted to share with all of you, and I think you're going the right direction, is consider that the highest source of inspiration and commitment is not a place you know. It's not something you know. But it's more like you know as a direction, not as a thing. You know, don't know it as a thing. Because if you know it as a thing, sometimes it becomes small. But when you know it as a direction and you're still committed to it, but you don't know it, it's like a committing to a possibility much bigger than you, or much bigger than yourself, much bigger than your company. When the 600 people, Vasudha, right? They can, and maybe tomorrow, whatever numbers it would be, right? They can rally around something which is much bigger than the company, right? Which is what you're saying in a way, like the contribution that you can make, right? So, first thing is we need to, the source of inspiration is not going to be in our head. It's not going to be in our thinking. It's not going to be in us. It's not going to be in somebody in the company. It's got to be at some other place. And it has, and you got to see it and connect to it newly. So the closest word that I can use right now is, what is the highest future possibility that your business is for the people and for the planet? Right? Now, if you deal with what is the highest future possibility that your business is? What would you say?
You are asking me?
Everybody.
Okay. In our case, in terms of organization, it can clearly be a leading manufacturer of medical devices. That's one possibility I see.
Sure.
Global leader, you can say.
Yeah. But that's for you as an organization, right?
Yes, as an organization.
Yeah, but what is in it for people and what is it for the planet?
No, I think when organization grows, certainly people also grow along with it. So
You mean
in
the
terms
people
of
in the
terms,
the organization?
Yeah, in the
I am not
organization.
talking about the people in the organization.
Outside, for outside,
Yes.
it is like those many employments. So there, like for example, in the case of let's say our organization, the more we manufacture, one is within organization employment increase, and we have to install and service and support customer. So those many new employments get created, those many new opportunities, and even beneficiaries also are there. Like people can have a better affordability,
Yes.
and better accessibility. These are
Okay.
all the things I see.
Okay. Good. Good. Thank you. Somebody else. What's the highest future possibility that your business can be?
Financial freedom for all.
Okay. That's something that you know, or that's something that you're creating now, fresh? Because I have
Well, I
heard
know
that
about it.
I have heard the statement like zillion times. Okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything to
Yes.
anybody, right? Except as a conversational strategy. Is but when you I'm saying look at it at the level of your heart, like what can really connect your heart, right? And your team's heart. What is the highest future possibility that your business is?
I would say for me,
Yeah,
take the business.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Was that GP?
For me, is probably resilient communities in cities. That's what I'm aiming for with my business.
Okay.
As resilient, especially connected to green practices and community practices.
Okay. In Indian pronunciation, or at least in my pronunciation, I would say resilient, just to make sure that people here in India are also getting what you're saying. I don't know which one is correct, but doesn't matter till the time we get our communication.
Yeah, resilient, I would say. That definitely is correct.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying resilient communities at the level of green practices, and you said at a level of community, right?
Yeah, on community, both on community and green practices, I would say yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, somebody else, what's the highest future possibility?
I have one thing here, Manoj.
Yes.
The organizations are actually driven by the possibilities created by the top leadership, right? So the management, top management, or the leadership actually who are there in that position.
Yeah.
It is driven by the possibilities that they create. How do you, we as individuals in the organizations, how do you influence that? I mean, it is actually their vision which will be driving the organizations.
Okay.
Am I right?
From unfortunately, you're right. In most cases, that is what is happening. And that's a very unfortunate part, because both individuals and organizations are missing out the power of the collective there, right? And which is one of the things that we work with organizations to transform, is
Yeah, I
that
think
they,
one of the questions which you asked in the beginning,
yeah,
like what would be the, I mean, this one uh, possibilities. So,
hmm,
I mean, how do you what are the difficulties or challenges that you
hmm.
asked? One of the, this
Yes,
will be
we
one of
asked
the
you, yeah.
challenges. Like
We asked
there
you
is
what are the challenges you and your business are dealing with.
yeah, I think this will be something like common to most of the organizations. Like the management will be having one vision, and then you may not like it, or you may not be
Right.
very very much within that, but or some of their decisions or their strategies you may not like. But how do you, in that phase of it, how do you reconnect yourselves
Hmm.
to contribute or uh, deliver the best, or motivate yourselves first of all?
Yeah. Yes. So from your question, I can interpret that in this organization that you're referring to, you are not at the top, right? You are somewhere in the middle or senior top, but not the
Yes,
top.
yes, I'm not
You're not
the
the person, right? Yeah. Okay, got that. I get your question, and we'll respond. And do you also see that organizations where people have this question or this thinking that, oh, the vision is from the top, the possibility is from the top, and what can we do about it? Or that itself is not a great situation to be in as an organization.
yeah. So
And and such organizations, and of course they are almost everywhere, 80-90% or more, they are missing out something. They are missing out the magic of the collective leadership, right? You hear me?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, got that. So so given that we have a certain limitation of the time, I'm going to kind of jump in a little bit forward and connect here. So consider that when I'm asking this question, what is the highest future possibility for your business? Okay, as an organization, as a business, as an entrepreneur, you have some thoughts, or you have some questions or concerns or something going on in your mind, right? How many of you noticed that there were some opinions and some judgments coming in your mind at that time when I'm asking this question? Like, oh, how is it possible, or how is it relevant, or oh, this is too big, or something is going on. What do you see? What was going on in your mind as I was asking you this question called, what is the highest future possibility that you for your business? What crossed your mind? Can you share, please? Or you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, everything was going fine for me till the very end. And when everybody finished the sharing and you again asked that question, the thought came to my mind that what you're actually trying to suggest goes far beyond, uh, the whole concept of business itself. The highest possibility is like we are all operating from the source.
Yeah.
And but then I said, then is he talking about business transformation, or is he talking about a spiritual world, or what is he talking about?
Yeah, and of course you are assuming that they are all separate and they will not integrate.
Yeah, I had a conversation about a certain organization, and Vivek knows which organization I'm referring to. They never said yes to the word spiritual. So I said, if I ask this question, maybe they'll say the same thing. We didn't say that.
Okay, so great, Anup. I like your line of thought. So notice, how many of you notice, just if you could raise your hand, how many of you notice some kind of opinion and judgment crossing your mind as I was creating this question? How many of you noticed that? If you can raise your hand, some opinion and judgment going on, okay? Or some kind of cynicism about it, right? Like, oh, this is not practical, this is not going to, this is not making sense in the business world, maybe it's somewhere like that, right? So consider that the way we are listening to business and the way we are listening to ourselves and people and this whole economic thinking that we are stuck in, it's all coming from the past. There is a certain economic thinking that we are stuck in. There is a certain thinking about what business is and what business can be, and that we are stuck in. And it is leading us to what we would like to say is there is a ego versus eco thinking. Okay, so there is an ego thinking, and I'm going to say a little bit more about that. What I mean by ego thinking. Consider the ego thinking is like a boundary. So the moment I say me, I'm creating a boundary. When I say my department, I'm creating a boundary. My company is a boundary, my industry boundary, my country boundary. So we are putting boundaries in our thinking. Right? That's the ego thinking. Okay? And eco thinking is all inclusive. Right? So eco is like, it comes from, what it means is home or house. Right? So it is like economics is like how do you manage the whole financial and the other resources of the whole house. Now, what is the house we are referring to? If you're looking at the global level, is the planet, right? So ecology is like the planet. So we connect it to two words. One is Vasudeva Kutumbakam, or Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as SK would say, which means the world is our family, right? And so eco comes from that thinking. So when we're looking at business, and the way we have been programmed to think is we have been thinking from ego. We've been mostly programmed to think ego. Now, of course, it's not 100% because you can't really run a business unless you're adding value to other people, right? But still, there is a certain amount of ego thinking that is shaping the whole culture of the business and organization. To come to the whole context of eco, which is what is the biggest difference our business can make? What is the biggest impact that our business can make, organization can make? That's going to require some rewiring for all of us, or most of us. And again, not just as individuals, but more as a collective. As Vivek will always keep pointing towards, we need to look at that the changing and transformation of individual is different game, but the transformation of the collective is a different game, right? What it will take for you to change your thinking is different, and when you're looking at whole collective thinking, it's going to be different. Okay, and so consider that there is an opportunity and a need to learn from some other place than where we have been learning from till now. And we have been learning from, and we are masters of learning from the past. All our learning is learning from the past, right? Almost all, right? And whenever I end up saying all or anything like that, you can interpret it as almost all, right? We're not going to go into the semantics here. But consider that most of our learning is looking at past, reflecting on the past, and then we apply it to the situations that we are dealing with. Unfortunately, the future is not going to look like the past. All of us know that. The future has changed, but the leadership thinking hasn't. How many of you agree to what I'm saying? That the future has changed, but the leadership thinking in most places hasn't. Anybody with me on the same page? Okay. And so where do we need to go if not the past? We need to develop a new competency, a competency of sensing the future as it emerges. It's not about predicting the future, right? We are not going to be able to train you in that. But what do we train in our workshops is we train you in our consulting work is we train you and the organization in the world of sensing the future as it emerges. Because
So,
if you sense the
Manoj,
future,
isn't that actually emerging in the present?
yes, it's emerging in the present. Yes.
There is only the present.
Yes.
Either you're borrowing from the past or it is emerging as a new
present.
future, but it's emerging only in the present.
Completely.
So it's
I have no other place to go.
Yeah, so it's totally an act of creation, nothing else.
I would say
Recreation.
I would say it's an act of sensing and sense making. See if you can look from this perspective. It's an act of sensing and sense making.
Sensing, I can understand little more clearly.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that the moment I start relating to sense making, I may again be pulled back into the past.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
you could use the word presencing.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head.
That is Vivek's specialty. I always want to keep reminding all of us as we are not talking as an individual phenomenon. We're talking of as a collective phenomenon. Okay. And when you're taking your team together, right? It's when your team can do the sensing, right? And the sense making, you will see that that has a different dynamics. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So this whole thing, till the time we are looking at the past, we are going to be in a different tunnel. But when you can start connecting and sensing the future as it emerges, and when we look at the highest future possibility of our business as the future emerges, not from what we already know, right? Like what is the highest future possibility of Industry 4.0, or what's the highest future possibility of designing, or of financial services, or of the medicine, or of as one of our colleagues here was talking about the drones, and whatever work we are doing, what is the highest future possibility of that is an emerging phenomena, not a it's in my past and I know everything about it phenomena. Right? And when we as teams are sensing that future and co-creating that future. So there are two parts. One is you sense the future emerging, and then you co-create your future in sync with the future emerging. What happens otherwise is most people, most businesses, after they grow a certain level, and they from a startup mentality to they become an organization mentality more, they get obsessed with their own vision, their own game plans, their own strategies, their own goals, and they stop sensing, or they reduce their sensing. And then the future comes. Whatever future is going to emerge will emerge. But since you're not sensing, the organization is not sensing, it emerges and mostly you get disrupted. Right? So, and the job of sensing the future is not going to be done by one person or some key people at the top. Srinivas, that is something that your organization needs to learn, that the sensing the future is not going to happen at the top. And how big is your organization, Srinivas?
As a globally, we are around 14,000, 15,000 people.
Right.
In in our manufacturing, we are 1,200, around 1,200.
Right. Yeah, 1,200
But
and then 14,000.
how do you create that listening from down under to the top is the challenge, which I see right
Yes.
now.
Yes. I will address that. Okay. I have 2-3 questions that I need to address with you. I hope somewhere I am also creating some bigger context in which we can address that. But definitely in a couple of minutes, you should come back and see which questions got addressed and which are still pending. Yeah. But one thing, Srinivas, and for everybody is the bad news is the future is not going to emerge in your head office. It's not going to emerge in the center of your business. In the center of your business, in your head office, and in the midst of your everyday business, there is no space for the future, for you to sense the future. You are in the, it's like, okay, so why we are not sensing the future? Okay, let's look at that. So imagine all of us are individually, right? So in our own worlds, imagine that you are sitting in a closed room. Okay, and there are windows all across. Okay, and their windows are closed, and there are curtains on the windows, and you're sitting in the room, and in the center of the room is a projector, and that projector is projecting all the audio video files from your computer, which is your brain. And now we are not saying that the audio video files being projected are not great or they're wrong in any way, but the only problem is they're not what's happening outside. So most people and companies, especially successful people and companies, after some time get stuck into seeing the audio video files being projected from their past, which is what we call, we are living in the world of downloading, we're living in the world of our opinions and judgments. And that's not where you can sense the future. If you want to sense the future, then you and your teams need to do something. The first is to notice that you are right now watching audio video clips of the past, or audio video clips of the interpretations based on the past. That's the first step you need to do, that you are downloading. Then the next step you need to do is to actually go to the windows, open the curtains, open the windows, and look outside. Not in the center of your organization, but look outside. Look at the periphery of your organization. Look at the periphery of your industry. Look at the world outside. Connect with the world outside. Maybe your sources of inspiration and future are not going to be there in the center of your business. They're going to be on outside. Just give me a couple of minutes. Right? Let me just complete one conversation, and then you can jump in. So the level, what we call here is, we call it as factual listening, which is the first step of sensing, is where we suspend our watching our own audio video files, our own voice of judgment, and start connecting to people on the periphery, people who don't have a say in the normal running of the business, right? And you start connecting to different people who are different than you, cross hierarchies, cross departments, cross industries, right? Maybe completely people from different worlds that you live in. And then not only, but if you're trying to connect to the source of inspiration and commitment, right? It won't happen just by this factual listening. You and your team will also need to master what we call is connecting by your heart, which is the empathic listening. Because the source of inspiration has something to do with the intelligence of the heart. We'll come back to this in a moment. Unfortunately, most management education has told us that our brain is intelligent. They forgot that the heart is 10,000 times more intelligent. We are lost how to tap the intelligence of the heart, of ourselves and our teams. So the work that we do is to get organizations and people to connect to the intelligence of the head, heart, and hand. The intelligence of the head, this is the logic. The intelligence of the heart, which is the world of sensing, the ability to sense, the ability to connect, and the intelligence of the heart, hand, which is the skill, which is the learning by doing, which is being in the field, and the innate knowledge that you have that can't be explained and thought, but it's there. Like I remember listening to one of the or seeing one of the videos where Steve Jobs talks about, long time back, of course, about we want the engineers who have the technology, the latest technology in their fingers, in the fingertips, right? So organizations need to have a way to connect with the intelligence of the head, heart, and hand of the teams. Okay, so coming back to the example that I was saying about, we need to go out from our rooms, right? And actually go out, go out of our rooms and actually go out in the world, in the field, and sense the future there by seeing how they see us, looking from their eyes, looking at our businesses from the eyes of other people, from the eyes of the customers, from the eyes of the stakeholders, the employees, and also other people who are not even in your scheme of things. When you start looking from those eyes, you will see some insights that you never had. So everybody, when I'm asking you this question, what is the highest future possibility for your business? You're responding from your eyes, right? You're seeing from your eyes and you're responding. Maybe that's not the best place to see from. Maybe you need to actually go out and see from the eyes of other stakeholders. Not just your employees, of course your employees, but not just your employees. Maybe not just your customers also. Your customers, of course, but not just your customers, not just your vendors, maybe even others. And unless you and your team start seeing the world from eyes of people outside of your standard world, you're going to miss out the magic of the highest future possibility that your business can be. But of course, as you start doing it, start connecting with people in your organization, in the periphery of your organization, outside, vendor, you start expanding the game. And that's a place where we want to encourage that that's a place to go to reimagine your business, to regenerate your business. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and invite Vivek and SK to share, also connect from some real life examples of various companies that we have been working with. And go ahead, Vivek.
Yeah, so like we said, we've been talking about collective a lot since this session started. And the example we just took is about one person in one room looking at projectors, images of whatever that person's brain is projecting. Just like that, everybody else in your organization and outside your organization and in your country is basically somewhere stuck in a room, right? Everyone is in some room. And when people are stuck in their room, the kind of collaboration, the kind of connection, the kind of conversations that take place are normally not very effective. Either they're ignored, or there are arguments, or because it's an organization and you happen to be the boss. So the boss is the final say and everybody else shuts up and listens. So there is no conversation, there is no sharing, there is no connection, there is no collaboration happening really. So if we really wanted to have a collective transformation, we needed to be able to create some kind of space in organizations, in families, in societies, in NGOs, in your life, where people are able to engage with each other and get to hear each other, listen to each other outside of those rooms. It's not that your views are wrong or bad or limited or, or anyway negative, or their views are bad or wrong or limited or negative in any way. It's just that you don't know their views, they don't know your views, and then both of you don't know the third person's views, the fourth person's views, the fifth person. But if you started to actually open your mind and just forget about the other things that we just mentioned about empathy and all that, if people just were willing to open their mind and get to see other views, there'll be so much more knowledge and so much more interest. Like all of you, you've come on this call. If you were not willing to open your mind, you would not come on this call only.
Okay.
And I really appreciate that. It's just say we want to transform a collective. We want the whole world around you, that collective also to have an open mind. And we will always start with one person. SK.
Yes. So, yeah. So let's hear from you.
More important is if some of you can share, where do you think you should see from to reimagine your business, in your business that you are dealing, or in your accountabilities that you are handling, whatever it is. Where do you think you should go and see it? Right now, like Manoj said, by default, we are seeing from where we are seeing. Right? So if you look at your role, your accountability, where do you think you should go and see the business from to really reimagine the business? That's the question.
What do you see for yourself in this conversation, for your business in this conversation, right? And what questions you have inside of that? So let's have some people respond what you heard, what you see for yourself, and as SK is saying, where can you go to sense the highest future possibility of your business? So let's hear from you now. Kalyan.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I started as a standalone business. Now we are a group of people who are working towards an area of medical field, LED lighting, a part of education also. So what I consider is it's going to be a journey where we don't have a destination to go through. Every day you're going to have new opportunities. We need to be flexible to see whether we would be able to make it work. Once we start working, then we might look at success and other things falling in place. We need to be open for the idea of looking at what better contributions we could make for a new subject which we're not aware.
Right.
Today we talk about certain skills we have. Okay, future skills nobody is prepared today. How flexible are we to understand? How good are we like a sponge to absorb new things and make it work for us?
Right. So what is the highest future possibility for your business, you see?
Maybe we'll be in 2-3 different lines than what we actually have imagined today. Something totally unrelated to what we're doing.
Yeah, but what is the biggest, you're looking at the structure of the organization, right? Or the business.
Your business as such.
Yeah. I'm saying, what is the highest contribution that your business can be? Highest future possibility that your business can be?
Yeah, currently we're working on a project of education and hunger as a part of an NGO. Maybe we could touch many more lives in terms of less number of people going to bed with empty stomach in a small way to start, and many people who can at least read to a certain level than what they were before.
Right. Now, perfect. So now if you look at, you just answered this question from your own eyes. Can you get that?
Okay.
And as SK was asking and I was saying, maybe the real source of inspiration is not to answer this question from our own eyes, but maybe from the eyes of other people. So how many people in this NGO?
Currently, we as a team are around 6 of us, We have a lot of, it's an open NGO. It's not a closed NGO, it's an open NGO. So we have
how many people associated with that?
Roughly around 240.
240, right. So what is the highest future possibility for this organization? Where would you have to go to discover that, if not to your own thinking? Riley, welcome.
I think we need to think totally outside what our boundaries are, right?
Yeah. So where would you have to go?
To the people whom we would like to make a difference.
Yeah, that could be one group of people, right?
Or work with the policymakers to see how best we can reach out to a larger set of people or beneficiaries.
No, I'm not looking at what you will work, but to sense see what we are talking about, as you know, is how can you reimagine this NGO, right? And we are saying that you cannot reimagine by looking at it from your eyes. You need to reimagine it by looking at it from eyes of other stakeholders.
Yeah.
Right. And not only you, maybe you and these 240 people, or you and your core team, more importantly, right? So you said 6 of you. I'm just assuming for the moment that the 6 of you are the core team, right? Maybe the 6 of you need to see this organization, the highest future possibility that this organization can be, from the eyes of other people than the 6 of you.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And as I was saying, who are the other people that you need to see your organization from? Whose eyes you need to see the organization?
Yeah, those are things I think I need to look at and answers for.
Yeah, so one could be the 240 people. Right? Yeah. If you saw the organization from the eyes of these 240 people, you might discover something new. Possible?
Yep.
And if you saw your organization and the highest future possibility of your organization from the beneficiaries, right? Again, you will see different worlds opening up. If you saw it from the various other partners in the game, right? Including the regulatory bodies or the other organizations that you work with. And if you actually, with an open mind and open heart, right? And we call it open will. If you inquire into the highest future possibility from their eyes for your organization and from the work you're doing, you will discover something new.
True.
Right? And it won't be like they will give you the answer, but as you sense whatever they're saying, and then when you interview many more people, right? And then you do the sense making out of that, right? That's where maybe it will connect. And then again, that could be also an ongoing phenomena. So the first thing we want to say is that the highest future possibility of your business doesn't exist in your brain, doesn't exist in the brain of the core team. It's not that whatever is in your brain is wrong, or whatever you're projecting from your past is wrong, but maybe a much bigger possibility exists.
True.
But it will only exist, and you can only access it when you go outside of your worldview and start seeing, like we say, turn the camera around. We are seeing the world. We need to turn the camera around and see the world from the eyes of other people.
True.
See ourselves from the eyes of other people, right? So one of the things, Kalyan, what we do in our workshops, we do this key workshops called Leadership from the Emerging Future. That's our flagship workshop. Okay? Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of organizational development work. Mm-hmm. And in that, some of the tools we start with is what we call as empathic listening. Okay. Where we train people to suspend their voice of judgment and cynicism and just see the world from other people's eyes. And this is for everybody, okay? While I'm sharing with Kalyan, I'm also sharing with all of you. When people start connecting, oh, this person from other department, this person from other thing, and when you start creating this whole connection where you start seeing from other people's eyes, something magical happens. because all of us are programmed to see life from our eyes, of course. But that's not a problem. But the problem is we also believe that others are seeing the same world that we are seeing. They are not. And then we wonder, how come they don't understand? Because they don't see from your eyes. So if you want to connect, you need to see from their eyes, right? Instead of waiting for all of them to come and see from your eyes, right? So your colleagues, your employees, your associates, your volunteers, your beneficiaries, they don't see the world from your eyes. They see a different world, and they're responding, thinking to a different world. When we connect from each other's world, we expand our horizon, right? And it expands us as a human being. So that's the first thing that needs to happen. That's what we work on in our workshops as well as consulting. Then the second thing is something what we call as a stakeholder interview, where we look at what do they really expect from us? What are their objectives and what are the expectations they have from us? And what we notice is most people assume, oh, I know what my stakeholders want from me. I know what my customers want from me. I know what my boss wants from me. I know what my team members want from me. But when they use these structured tools and do those interviews, they just go, oh my God, I had no idea. I was logging myself on those 10 parameters, but they're actually expecting me to contribute on some 2 other parameters. Right? So they're getting the world of the stakeholders. Right? That's another piece. Right? And then, of course, that's the beginning of the beginning. And then there are many more. And one of the things is about the whole organization culture. Right? There is a culture that is required to make it conducive to sensing the future and responding to the future. Otherwise, most cultures are around, like what Srinivas said, the most cultures are conducive to responding to the vision and the possibility of the senior most person in the organization. They're not designed around responding to the highest possibility of the organization. You get what I'm saying, Kalyan?
Yeah.
And yeah, and the way it is for you, this NGO is also, you might see it in your other businesses, right? Same thing. The highest future possibility of your business will show up somewhere else, not in the world, in your own world. Yeah. Thanks, Kalyan. Thanks for the opportunity to have this interaction. Okay. Somebody else, what are you getting in this conversation? Where is my architect friend? Okay, Amar, Anup, Kiran, what are you getting in this conversation?
So I'm getting what you are saying. My question to you is the definition of organization also is coming from the past.
Yes.
So when you say now, as I said in the beginning, that I am tempted to actually, in my mind, say it's an organization unlimited. And therefore, if one has to take more people who are naturally in that 4th level, and you want their contribution, your so-called organization should have the structure to take them in.
Yes.
Without formal, I would say, launch.
Yeah, it's more like
I'm saying brilliant minds need to come together. Brilliant minds and open hearts want to come together.
Yeah, we call it the space for collective creativity.
Yeah. So in that space for collective creativity, what is the definition of organization?
Yeah. Or maybe the definition, I get you. Or maybe the borders of the so-called organizations don't have to limit the players who can play in the game.
True.
Collective creativity, where the employees and the associates and the customers and many stakeholders.
And I would say many organizations also collaborating.
Yes, completely.
So how do you handle those kind of assignments as well?
Yeah, and in a way, it's already happening in some projects, but it's not happening like a norm, right? So like we were watching this old video, Apollo 8, which which went on a moon mission, which didn't land, but so we were learning that some 15 or 50 countries had collaborated on that mission, right? So it's happening, but it's just that we don't have those access in our everyday businesses. We're not see, when you open the possibility big enough, when it moves from the ego and the survival to the highest future impact and highest future contribution, you will create a space for many more organizations and individuals to come together and co-create. Right?
Correct. So I'm comfortable even imagining that future. Many possibilities are opening up in my head and heart. But the point where I'm a little unsure is you start off something, but then in the delivery, there's a lot of project management also to be done.
Sure.
And at that time, can you sustain this without having a formal organization, or can you just create a loyalty towards something and that's good enough?
Yeah. Yes. So what you're right. So let me see. I'll just share one slide for you to respond to your question.
Very powerful question.
Are you guys able to see my screen?
Coming.
Yeah.
No, Manoj.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see now.
Okay. So now I'm going to change the screen. Okay. Not this one. I want to show you something else. So it's just taking a couple of seconds. Okay. So it will come, but let me continue the conversation. So consider that we need three kinds of transformations. First is what we call transforming perceptions. Perceptions about ourselves, perception about our businesses, perception about situations and challenges, perception about others have about us, and perceptions we have about ourselves. So we call it transforming perception, but I would actually prefer to call it transforming reality, because that whole world of perception is our reality. We don't have any other reality beyond that, right? So that's the first phase. Then the second phase is to our highest future possibility as an individual, and then as a collective, right? So we call it transforming self and will. Okay, this is the slide I wanted to show you. And the third thing is moving to the world of realization, which is transforming action, right? So I think this is where Anup, you were pointing at, is once we collect the, once we create a collective vision, we crystallize a collective vision, then we need this awareness-based design thinking. So to continue the implementation also in the same spirit, right? Of course, you will use the principles of rapid prototyping and then co-evolving and everything, but it has to be done in the background of the two things: awareness-based and collective creativity. Okay, so that's what we focus on. So there are three transformations to be created for us. First is transforming perceptions, transforming self and will, connecting to the highest future possibility as individuals and as organizations, and then transforming actions. Inside of that, there are 7 capacities to develop. First is the suspending our past programming, our views of the past, our voice of judgment, cynicism, fear that stops us, right? And redirecting the past to sensing from the future that's emerging. And it requires a lot of letting go of, oh, this is the way things have always been. This is the way we have always worked. This is the way things have always happened. So there's a lot of letting go as individuals and as collective. Okay. And the moment you start playing the game, you realize how much people are stuck into their old skin, right? And there's also letting come in terms of new ways of thinking, new ways of acting, new ways of looking at things, again, individually and collectively. So these are some core competencies at the first level, the second level, and then the other competencies of crystallizing your vision as a collective, rapid prototyping, testing out your ideas, hypotheses. We call also the learning by doing, and then is the scaling up and institutionalizing. So these are 7 different worlds of competencies to be developed at the individual and the collective. Okay. So Anup, this is what helps, and the way we do is we have when we are working with organizations, we have a 5-level intervention, wherein we move from this the world of transforming perception to actually converting vision to reality, and the 5th level is actually creating internal champions to sustain that whole transformation ongoingly in the organization. Right, so we should talk about it offline later on if you're interested to know more about it. Okay, good. Thanks, Anup. And we would like to interact with others, and I'll also ask if we would like you to ask questions. So please do that. And in the meanwhile, I'm also going to give you some basic information. We would love to continue this conversation with everybody. And we will be here on this call for as long as you have any questions or you want to interact. I'm in no hurry to go anywhere. We have scheduled the time for you. But let me give you some basic information. We run this flagship course called Leadership from the Emerging Future. And we do this as open workshops, offline, online, both. And we do OD work, organizational transformation work in various organizations of various size. Again, we do it in person and we do it through technology. We have been operating mostly in India, Philippines, Thailand, and we also have associates in UK. In the last 5 years that we are working on this theory, we have had people from around 30 industries and 9 countries participate with us. Our next available course is going to be on 17th and 18th of October. And I will see if I can attach the file, or Vivek, will you be able to attach the brochure, the file here for people? Yes. So this is going to be a 2 full days workshop, followed by a complimentary seminar series of 6 sessions. And this next workshop is on 17th and 18th of October. And in this workshop, we will take you through all the tools, principles and tools which are connected with transforming the perception and transforming the way you see the world, your reality, and how, and also inside of that, getting the world of the stakeholders. We also give you tools to identify your organization culture and alter that culture, because unless your culture of the organization is conducive to listening to the emerging future, it is only conducive to listening to what some people have to say, right? So it's not a space for collective creativity. So we will give you tools in this workshop and we'll help you practice those tools to connect to that kind of a culture, create that kind of a culture. And also, we have a very powerful tool, which we call it as Case Clinic, which helps you transform your problems and challenges from this future given perspective, from this awareness given perspective, not from the traditional management thinking of solving a problem, but more from allowing a future to emerge and tapping the intelligence of your heart, not just the intelligence of your head. Again, it's a collective exercise and it's very, very powerful. It's a 70-minute exercise that we train people in. And then once you are trained, you can use that ongoingly. You will find, even you can use it with people who are not in the workshop later on. And you will see that the whole way to see challenges can transform in an organization. Okay. And we also do some exercises to connect you with your real self. So that's the kind of journey in very, very short that we'll cover in the first 2 days. In the 6th session that follow, you will be helped to implement this on a deeper scale, in a larger scale in your organization, and also get ready for moving into the collective aligned vision and getting to see the steps required now for converting those vision into reality. Right. So that is the whole journey in the 2 days and 6 session. And if you want to do the open workshops, this is the next available date is 17th and 18th of October. It's a Saturday, Sunday. The timing is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay. And if you want to do it for your own organization as in-house, you should talk to one of us and we can help you deal with that. So yes, and Vivek, if you can also put in the link for how people can register and all those information so that they have that information. And it would be great if people, you can download this for yourself. And also feel free to ask questions and look at what you need from us now. Siddharth, Kiran, Kedar, Amar. Kedar, if you're saying something, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah. 17th and 18th, the program what you are conducting, it is for the senior level people who is working for the organization.
It is for senior level people and entrepreneurs, both, right? And many times people come with the teams, but we don't recommend that the senior people stay at home and they just send their team, right? That's not a good idea. But if the senior people are coming along with their teams, that is good. Many organizations have been participating with the top guys along with 5-7 people from the team joining the workshop. That has been a norm in every batch, right? And some people come, 1 or 2 people, but the senior guys participating is always good, right? So Kedar, Kedar Swami, you are where do you see yourself? You see yourself as senior person or?
Yeah, I'm heading the 4 plants of operations.
Wow, yeah.
Around 500 people works for my 4 plants.
Fantastic.
And I'm responsible for the complete P&L.
Fantastic. So the way I would recommend is if you look at your core team, okay? You are not causing everything alone. You would be having a core team, right? Maybe a small core team in each of the plants, or maybe some core team which is helping you around the whole plant, right? Along these whole 4 businesses. How many people would you say they are? What is your core team size?
My core team is all the manager levels is around 11 put together from the 4 plants.
Yeah. So if you and your 11 people participated, right, you will open a new world for your plants, for these people and for the whole organization. So that would be the best way to participate.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah,
we can assure you that that would be like a whole new world of possibility opening up.
Yeah, I will get in touch with you. Yeah.
Sure. And the tuition, and we could also do, Kedaswamy, we could also do a dedicated workshop for your organization. That's a different conversation. We can explore that if you want. It will be customized. So both ways, it will be great. For the open workshop, the tuition, just to inform for everybody, is that standard tuition is £500, but currently in this per person. But currently in this COVID situation, we have decided to have a 30% scholarship on this per person. Right?
Okay.
So that will come to £350. Right?
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Somebody else? Kalyan, Kiran.
All the files have been shared and the links have been shared.
Right. Siddharth, Anup. Srinivasa. So Anup, in your team, you should look at you and your core team participating.
See, as I said, what I'm keen to explore is bringing a new set of stakeholders.
Yes.
And then connecting my current organization with that possibility. Rather than doing it inside out, I'll do it outside in. Means create the new future as a possibility, and then invite my current organization to step in and be one of the catalysts.
Okay. Yeah, and you have some people in mind when you're looking at outside?
Yeah, I have some people in mind. Obviously, I will also tell you, I have also been looking at few other organizations. One is a UNIDO.
Right.
It's an Empretech foundation for entrepreneurs. They've been having conversations with us. And I'm really looking at, Indian pricing, rupee pricing, not foreign exchange. And
yeah, so Indian pricing is not a problem. We have the same pricing with just the GST gets added, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so we have a lot of Indian companies are participating, and we give them Indian invoicing also. It is just the current conversion rate, which is 95, and then we do the 18% GST, and we have been doing Indian pricing. That's not a problem.
It's what, 35,000 rupees?
Yeah, 35,000 rupees and plus GST.
Okay. That's a challenge I'll throw back at you guys.
Yeah. But see, firstly, I would say that firstly get when you are clear of what you want to create with this, the set of principles and practices that are available, finance is not a problem. We are here to make a difference. Our context is to transform the consciousness with which businesses, society, and individuals operate. Right.
Well, let me let you, me, and Vivek have an offline conversation.
Sure.
I'll share the project. I'll also tell you what are the kind of stakeholders I would like to include. It will be from government, it will be from industry, it will be from academia. Perfect. And it will be an extension of our current project so that it gets a national footprint. Because that is one thing I found people resonate. Nobody is today willing to step in and join an unknown soldier like me. But they are seeing that this is an impersonal project, or it's not a personal project of mine. I can see their readiness to jump in much better. And that's a conversation we've also been having with UNIDO. you know, I have some advantage being a technical advisor to many of their teams in India, but at the level of transformation, obviously I like what you say, because it's the last level 4 to which I personally champion, and it'll be great to have a professional organization handle that. But then I would not like to see it as a one-off intervention.
Yeah.
The good thing is I see that you are in the west, Vivek is in the north, and you also have, I think, Sai is in the south, right? Bangalore.
Yeah, Sai is in south, and then we also have a couple of people
So
outside.
I'd like to actually co-create this whole thing with you all, and then see, do you want to take it as just an assignment or also as a stakeholder?
That would be great. That would be great. I do believe that the many places the way we would be able to contribute would be beyond just a training or a consulting setup, right? A lot of projects need some other contribution. So
sure,
we should definitely talk.
Vivek can coordinate. We'll set up a time. Maybe we'll do another conversation.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you.
Great. And Karunakar, sorry, Ratnakar, yeah. So I invite you to also have a word with SK and look at everybody. My invitation is look at you and your core team to engage with this conversation. Yeah.
So I get a message from Sai. He's already attached to Schneider. Yeah.
Yes.
I will also tell you what is a challenge I'm personally facing with a counterpart at Schneider.
Okay. So Sai will definitely be interested in this.
Yeah.
Sai is Sai is involved with the education side of it.
Yeah.
They have an education business.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. Somebody was speaking, but I couldn't hear. Okay, so
so Sai is with Schneider, or he's a independent guy like you guys are?
Sai is with Schneider, and he's our well-wisher.
Okay. Then that will make it easier.
Yeah.
Great.
Because his heart is in the transformation of the world. Okay, so so we will officially declare this meeting over, and those of you who would like to hang around and have some interactions with us, we would be available for some time. And otherwise, we deeply appreciate you engaging in this conversation, investing your time, and more importantly, investing your open mind and open heart in this conversation. Thank you for the opportunity. We really appreciate you and also the people who invited you. Thank you very much. Srinivas, did you get your questions answered? Are you there?
Stop sharing on Facebook.
Okay.
I will talk to Srinivas.
Somewhat.